Cliff Richard, born Harry Roger Webb in October 1940 in Lucknow, India, emerged from a world far removed from the glamour and adoration he would later experience. His early life, shaped by the post-war years in Britain, instilled in him a sense of humility, discipline, and quiet perseverance. Moving with his family to England as a child, he navigated a period of national rebuilding and personal adjustment, learning to value hard work, consistency, and the comfort of routine. Even as a shy, reserved boy, he displayed a natural sensitivity, a listening ear, and a careful attentiveness that would later define not only his music, but his personal interactions. Though the world would soon see him as a bright, dazzling figure on stage, those who knew him early remembered the young man behind the performances, thoughtful, reflective, and deeply observant of life's small details. From Harry Webb to Cliff Richard, the transformation from Harry Webb, the quiet Hertfordshire schoolboy, to Cliff Richard, Britain's first pop sensation, was swift and intense. By the late 1950s, teenage audiences were hungry for optimism, energy, and rebellion, and Cliff provided it effortlessly. Overnight, he became a symbol of hope and youthful exuberance, a face that promised brightness in post-war Britain. Screaming fans, endless radio play, and relentless media attention became the new normal. For Cliff, the external world had changed dramatically, yet internally, he remained a boy, grappling with the enormity of expectation. While audiences adored him, few could see the careful balance he maintained, the measured composure that allowed him to navigate fame without losing his sense of self. Every action, every word, every note he sang was touched by an awareness of responsibility, not just to his fans, but to the person he wanted to remain underneath it all. Early fame and its demands fame arrived before Cliff was fully prepared for it, and the pressures of public life shaped his early choices in profound ways. Producers and managers saw a British Elvis Presley in him, polished, charismatic, appealing to young audiences while remaining wholesome and controlled. Cliff adapted quickly, learning that restraint was not a limitation, but a necessary tool to survive in a world that demanded constant attention. Interviews were carefully navigated, public appearances choreographed, and private life fiercely guarded. Far from being stifled, he found a sense of purpose and discipline. Friends recall a young man tirelessly rehearsing late into the night, touring ceaselessly, yet maintaining a quiet humility that set him apart from others who were overwhelmed by sudden stardom. Fame could have been chaotic, but Cliff channeled it into structure, anchoring himself in principles that would guide him throughout life. Discipline, overindulgence. Unlike many of his contemporaries, Cliff did not seek to indulge in every whim that fame offered. His choices were deliberate, shaped by an early understanding that longevity in the industry required self-restraint. He observed peers fall to the temptations of fame and understood that discipline was both protection and empowerment. Behind the gleaming stage lights, he built routines, rehearsed relentlessly, and cultivated a sense of inner order. Publicly charming and effortlessly confident, privately, he maintained a quiet life of reflection, reading, prayer, and personal growth. This balance allowed him to flourish musically while preserving his sense of integrity. Fame became a tool rather than a trap, and in doing so, Cliff maintained a remarkable continuity of purpose that few performers of his era could claim. The price of fame's success, however, always carried its subtle costs. The applause, the adoration, the songs topping charts brought with it an acute awareness of what was absent: stillness, privacy, and deep personal connection. Cliff built boundaries not from fear or disdain, but from self-preservation. Romantic relationships, while possible, were always tempered by the demands of touring, performing, and public scrutiny. He realized early that the very attributes that made him beloved, availability, warmth, charm were incompatible with conventional personal intimacy on a permanent basis. Fame gave him visibility, influence, and opportunity, but it came at the cost of a quiet, fully private life. Every decision about engagement, conversation, or personal disclosure was made with careful consideration, reflecting his desire to live fully yet safely within the world he inhabited. Early relationships and lessons learned. Despite these challenges, Cliff experienced meaningful relationships that shaped his understanding of love and companionship. His first serious connection with Delia Wicks, a dancer who had admired him long before fame arrived, offered both joy and the lesson of timing. They imagined a life together, one of shared home, family, and quiet moments beyond the stage lights. Yet the unyielding demands of his career made sustaining such a vision impossible. He told himself there would be time later, a time when tours ended and public attention waned, but that time never fully materialized. Years later, a letter from Delia reminded him of the love and patience that had existed in that chapter of life, a poignant acknowledgement of the cost of his early discipline and commitment to purpose. He kept the letter, a tangible symbol of both what he had gained and what had been set aside in pursuit of a higher calling. The friendships that endured love, though often out of reach in the conventional sense, found other forms in Cliff's life. His friendships became lifelines, each relationship carefully nurtured, grounded in trust, respect, and mutual understanding. He was warm, considerate, and generous, yet always maintained boundaries to preserve the priorities he had chosen: faith, music, and service. As years progressed, these friendships became his chosen family, offering the affection, stability, and companionship that romantic partnerships might have provided. Through decades of touring, recording, and charity work, Cliff surrounded himself with those who understood and supported him, finding joy and fulfillment in shared purpose rather than societal expectation. A lifelong companion in friendship. Among the friendships that sustained him, one in particular stood out. Beginning in the early 1970s, Cliff met someone who intuitively understood the unique life he led, a connection rooted in mutual respect, shared values, and unwavering trust. What might have appeared to outsiders as a romantic partnership was in reality a deep, enduring friendship, providing an emotional anchor through decades of fame, speculation, and public scrutiny. Together, they navigated the challenges of celebrity life, charitable endeavors, and the ongoing quest for personal meaning. The relationship demonstrated that companionship does not require romance, and that a life of shared purpose can offer profound satisfaction, sometimes surpassing conventional notions of love and partnership. Faith as a guiding principle. Cliff. Richard's life was also shaped by a profound commitment to faith. In 1966, he embraced Christianity fully, integrating its principles into every aspect of his life. Prayer, scripture, and service became central routines, guiding choices in both his personal and professional life. His faith informed his approach to relationships, helping him understand that marriage was a sacred union, not to be undertaken lightly, particularly while living a life of constant movement and performance. By grounding himself in belief, Cliff achieved a clarity of purpose that allowed him to navigate fame with grace, balancing public demands with private reflection. Faith was not merely a source of comfort, but a discipline shaping his worldview and the life he built around it. Living life on purpose. Throughout his decades-long career, Cliff consistently chose intention over impulse. Public curiosity about his personal life was inevitable, but he never allowed speculation to dictate his actions. Questions about marriage, romance, or desire were met with humor, grace, and gentle deflection. Never defensive, always thoughtful. He understood that mystery invites interpretation, but that the value of life cannot be measured by public assumptions. His days were filled with music, charitable work, friendships, and faith, each offering fulfillment and connection that were meaningful in ways beyond conventional expectation. The life he curated was one of choice, reflecting his values rather than societal pressures. Building a different kind of family, Cliff's support network became a kind of extended family, built on trust, loyalty, and shared purpose. Colleagues, close friends, and mentors became his companions in life, providing emotional support, understanding, and shared joy. His manager, Bill Lum, for example, was not merely an associate, but a lifelong ally, someone who navigated the complexities of fame alongside him. Together with trusted friends, Cliff cultivated a sense of belonging and stability that fulfilled the human need for connection. These relationships demonstrated that family is not defined solely by romantic bonds, but can be intentionally crafted through love, respect, and mutual care. Love beyond romantic norms. Cliff's story challenges conventional assumptions about love and fulfillment. He discovered that deep connection does not require romantic partnership, and that devotion can be expressed in countless ways. Friendship, mentorship, service, and music all became conduits for love, offering richness and meaning that could stand alongside, or even surpass, traditional notions of marital happiness. Through these relationships, he experienced joy, loyalty, and intimacy, proving that human connection is versatile and that love manifests in many forms, each equally valid and profound. Facing loneliness with purpose. Despite contentment and accomplishment, Cliff acknowledged moments of solitude and quiet longing. These were not regrets, but natural consequences of the life he had intentionally chosen. Solitude became a companion, offering space for reflection, prayer, and personal growth. The occasional ache of a life without a traditional partner was balanced by fulfillment in other dimensions: artistic achievement, faithful friendships, charitable endeavors, and the satisfaction of living with integrity. His discipline allowed him to navigate fame, expectations, and curiosity without losing his sense of self or purpose. Achievements and enduring legacy. Cliff's achievements extend far beyond charts, awards, or recognition. 6 decades of music, service, and principled living illustrate a life rich in purpose, integrity, and care. Fans remember his performances, but those closest to him appreciate his generosity, kindness, and unwavering commitment to values. Through friendship, mentorship, charity, and faith, he cultivated meaning and joy, demonstrating that fulfillment is as much about the life you touch as the life you lead. His influence endures not simply because of fame, but because he remained steadfast, authentic, and true to his principles in a world prone to distraction and compromise. Enduring principles and daily practice. Even in later years, Cliff continues to embrace each day with intention. He performs records and engages with audiences while maintaining gratitude for friendships, family, and opportunity. He recognizes solitude, but accepts it as part of the balance he intentionally chose. Faith, discipline, and reflection remain guiding forces, reminding him of the values that shaped every decision and interaction. His story affirms that clarity, patience, and fidelity to purpose can sustain a life more enduringly than fleeting pleasure or public approval. Reflection on a life of purpose. Reflecting on decades of music, service, and personal choice, Cliff Richard conveys a message of acceptance and affirmation. He neither laments the paths not taken, nor defends the life he led. He simply recognizes it as the life he was meant to live. Through friendship, faith, and artistry, he found profound fulfillment. Loneliness, discipline, and sacrifice were companions on this journey, shaping a man whose influence transcends fame and whose presence continues to inspire both fans and friends. In every song, act of kindness, and thoughtful gesture, Cliff Richard offers evidence that a life lived with intention can be as rich, meaningful, and enduring as any life measured by conventional expectations. Closing reflections. Cliff Richard's story is remarkable not only for its public success, but for the quiet wisdom underpinning every decision. His life affirms that discipline, friendship, faith, and service create fulfillment that cannot be measured by fame or marital status alone. At 85, he continues to share his gifts with the world, embracing each day with gratitude, joy, and a deep sense of purpose. His journey teaches that love is versatile, life is defined by choices, and true happiness is cultivated through principle, commitment, and care. Through music, mentorship, and devotion, Cliff Richard has left an enduring mark, a testament to the power of living with clarity, integrity, and heart.